Irish-based biotech startup Aerska has come out of stealth to raise $21 million in seed funding. The company is on a mission to combat brain diseases using RNA interference. And its CEO, Jack O'Mara, sat down with NYC content creator Ashley Mastronardi to talk more about the company's work and where the firm was conceptualized. Let's take a listen.
In Gaelic, Aerska means in the shelter of one another, people survive. It's a powerful name and a powerful mission for a new biotech aiming to change the way we treat neurological diseases. Joining me now is Aerska's CEO and co-founder, Jack O'Mara. Jack, welcome to the New York Stock Exchange.
Ashley, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
So I understand that you came up with the idea for Aerska in an Irish bar. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and what Aerska is aiming to solve?
Yeah, I guess like all good ideas, they start in an Irish pub. I think someone once said that. But basically, myself and an old friend were catching up in a pub one day, talking about our interest in advanced medicines and brain diseases, and decided together, you know what, why don't we try and solve Alzheimer's? What could be easier than that? And then slowly roped in others through also pub meetings from Boston to Oxford to Cambridge to try and get a rockstar founding team together with RNA and neuroscience leaders to go after this big, meaty problem of neurological conditions. But in essence, we're taking recent advances in brain shuttle technology, which allows us to deliver medicines to the brain in a way never before previously quite possible. And then we're combining these advances with RNA medicine, which is a proven modality and highly selective, and particularly RNAi medicines are very effective at turning off overactive genes. So a lot of brain diseases are driven by an overactive protein that aggregates and causes a toxic buildup and starts to damage neurons or other cells in the brain. And we're basically using an RNAi medicine to turn off those overacting genes, and in doing so, hopefully really helping patients around the world that suffer from diseases of the brain.
Can you break down this brain shuttle technology? What impact does it have on the brain? And is this preventative? Is my question.
Great question. So maybe just to start, for a long time, getting things into the brain is a real struggle. Brain has this thing called a blood-brain barrier, which is really like almost a bouncer that tries to keep things out. The brain's a hungry organ, so it does let in a lot of nutrients to feed itself and sustain itself, but it tries to keep out things that it doesn't want or things that could be potentially dangerous for the brain. So what we've developed, or what people are developing around the industry, are these brain shuttle technologies. And basically what they do is they try to mimic almost a natural nutrient that the brain wants to absorb to feed itself, and it uses a receptor on the end of this blood-brain barrier that you can use an antibody or a peptide or some construct to basically attach yourself to this mechanism the brain uses to feed itself and pull across your drug alongside that delivery system. And what we're focused on is RNAi medicines, which are very effective for turning off overactive genes. And from a preventative perspective, what's really exciting is that because a lot of work has gone into the genetics and the biology and really much better understanding of brain diseases than we've ever had previously, a lot of it points to early intervention being really powerful to try and treat these chronic diseases and being able to systemically administer. So rather than needing an injection in your spine or an injection in your skull, which is typically how we delivered advanced medicines to date, being able to deliver like a subcutaneous or an intravenous delivered medicine, that opens up this opportunity for earlier intervention and maybe one day even a preventative medicine for these chronic neurological diseases. So that's big vision behind the company, is can we get there earlier and ultimately result in better outcomes for patients.
And the way that it's delivered into the body, is that the only way that it differs from traditional medicine?
It's a primary difference, yeah. What it means, it's both practically better for patients to be able to deliver at home or in a much more convenient way without that invasive intrathecal or injection in the spine. But what's exciting about delivering it systemically rather than via direct injection into the brain or into the spinal column is that you can actually use the brain's natural vascular system. So the brain has 400 miles of capillaries running through it. It's like a hypervascularized organ. And by delivering our medicine systemically through the blood system, you can use all those little blood tunnels or capillaries throughout the brain to basically allow the brain to soak up your drug throughout the whole system. Because if you're delivering it in the spine or in the brain, it's hard to really get it all over the entire brain. But using the natural vascular system, you can get a much wider biodistribution. And that's really powerful when you're trying to develop medicines, because then you can ultimately hit more of the target that you're trying to hit. So that's why we're excited.
And Jack, where are you in the development process? Where is this right now?
Yeah, so we're advancing a partnering and an internal build model where we're partnering with folks who've been working on brain shuttles for a long time. and we're concurrently building out our own portfolio of RNAi medicines that are going after specific targets where we believe there could be a really high therapeutic index or potent intervention for medicine. So we're building those components and starting to put them together now and test them in larger animals to see if we can really take forward a medicine that could be transformative for brain diseases.
Has there been any precedent for this? Is there any efficacy data that the way that it will be, delivered to the body is going to improve symptoms?
Yeah, so that's one of the kind of founding reasons we got so excited in that pub back in the west of Ireland on a windy night was that there has been really amazing breakthroughs in delivery of large molecules to the brain that were pioneered by great companies like Roche and Aliada and others, where they've shown that you can deliver very effectively antibodies, which are large molecules that basically pull aggregated proteins out of the brain. But what we're doing is delivering RNAi, which is an intracellular mechanism. So what that means is rather than trying to remove proteins that have aggregated around the brain, we're going directly into the cells and turning off the tap. So trying to stop the gene overexpressing in the first place rather than pulling out plaques or otherwise from the brain. And by doing that, we hope we'll have a safer and a potentially more efficacious medicine that's better suited to earlier intervention, like you said earlier in the call.
And who is the ideal patient for this? Where are they in their Alzheimer's journey? Like, at what point do they need this medication delivered in this way?
Yeah, so we're thinking about trying to find like a precision medicine-based approach. So identifying patients who have a particular genetic predisposition or a symptomology that we can characterize to be able to find subpopulations of larger neurological diseases, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, or otherwise, and then focusing on those smaller patient populations where we have higher confidence in the biology and believe the medicine can be more efficacious. So we're working on that strategy at the moment, and we'll have more to say next year, and maybe we can catch up for another one of these, and we'll be able to tell you more.
Right, and you announced a $21 million round of seed funding. How are you allocating that capital?
So that's primarily to push our lead program, getting ready for a development candidate or a medicine that's been proven out in a preclinical setting that's ready to be taken forward into the clinic, which our next round of financing will be used to do. And concurrently, we're advancing an early portfolio of RNAi-based medicines and other technologies that could be useful for delivering these advanced medicines into the brain.
And I understand that you have a pretty impressive team. Can you talk more about how you gathered them, where they come from, and what you think they're going to bring to this mission?
Yeah, I'm really excited about the people we've been able to amalgamate to try and put together this rock star team. And it was sourced by various pub visits from Galway to Boston to Oxford. But we've got one of the former Alnylam colleagues who was an early innovator in the CNS delivery of RNA medicines. He was one of the key inventors behind the technology for delivering these medicines through a spinal injection. So a first generation that we're hoping to advance using systemically administered approaches. We also got the former head of discovery at AstraZeneca Neuroscience, who brings 30 years of rich neuroscience and drug development expertise. And we've also got some rock stars from my old company, Ochre Bio, who led on the RNA chemistry and on the clinical development side. So we think we've got all the key ingredients to really build an impactful company here.
All right, thanks again to Aerska CEO Jack O'Mara and Ashley Masternardi for that interview.